What's up, guys? Be by Mash UK Speed VR with another video for you. Okay, so just thought I'd have a little chat about the 4090 because where can I start? This is a raw video, by the way. This is not scripted. This is just me sat here on my lunch reflecting on my last 48 hours. So straight away, the 4090 is not twice the power of a 3090. Okay, so where you've seen all these benchmarks and reviews by other YouTubers suggesting, 40 frames per second on the 3090 and 80 frames per second on the 4090. Okay, not the case. Certainly not with VR, anyway. The performance, as with all graphics cards that I've owned, especially the ones that are hyped up, like the difference between the 1080 and the 1080 Ti and the 1080 Ti versus the 2080. When you first put the card on, because of all the hype, you are expecting to see double the performance. And I didn't see that in VR. I went into Automobilista 2 and I maxed out everything to the highest setting with, I think it was 31 cars on track on what I consider one of the toughest courses to race on, and that's Spa, especially where all the stands are, And anyway, I'm sat there in my headset. I've got my I've got my Meta QuestPro headset on, running at full resolution. No super sampling, but full resolution. And I'm sat there with 30 odd cars in front of me. I'm right at the back. And I can see that I'm reprojecting 45 FPS. And my heart sank. And I'm thinking, this ain't right. This can't be right. So I knocked the resolution, I knocked the FPS down to 80 because you can run the Quest Pro at 72, 80 or 90 Hertz. Stuck it on 80 Hertz and I was sat there at a solid 80 FPS, moving my head round, up and down, left and right, no problems, 80 Hertz. Come to the first corner, 30 odd cars, all trying to turn. Sat there, looked at the FPS counter, 40 FPS. And I thought to myself, have I got super sampling turned on here? Because this can't be right. Based on all the other reviews, this can't be right. And it came down to the fact that, you are pushing, when you got 31 Porsches on screen, I forget what car it was, a lot of body work to render. The drivers are all visible in the car and the reflections and the shadows, And I thought, right, I'm going to put it back up to 90 hertz, but I'm going to drop the car count down by groups of 5 at a time. And I eventually landed at 21 cars on track. So 20 AI cars and myself. And I was able to get round Spa, everything maxed out at 90 FPS with no drops. So is that the graphics card or is it the CPU? Personally, I think it's the CPU. I think the CPU has got so much lighting and shadows to deal with 31 cars. It was just too much, because I've got a 10700K overclocked to 5 gig. Graphics card isn't overclocked. It's stock Founders Edition. So I started thinking, okay, what do you want the most? Do you want to be able to say, I'm running Automobilista 2, everything maxed out graphically with 21 cars, and it's still held up as well during rain. I was able to change the weather to storm with 21 cars on track round Spa, and I still got a solid 90 FPS. So the 4090 is a beast of a card. It is way better than the 3090 in VR, even with a 10700K. But I think if you want to push it further, it's not just for GPU, it's for CPU as well, because with ultra shadows and ultra reflections, there's a hell of a lot of calculations going on, as well as all the rendering. It's not just what you see, it's what's going on in the background that calculates the sun, where the sun is, where the light is casting on the car, where the rays of sun are coming through, and all that sort of stuff, and the shadows. So all that is heavily dependent on the CPU. So I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the 4090. It took me a few hours to be happy with it, because I think I was expecting a little bit too much. I was expecting to max it out and increase super sampling as well and stuff. I've messed around with super sampling versus anti-aliasing, you know, dropping the anti-aliasing down to medium and putting up 1.5 on the super sampling. And at the moment, I've got it set to ultra, but I've got shadows and reflections set to medium, because in VR I cannot see a difference between medium, high or ultra. So once you get rid of your ego and you knock those two settings down to medium, I was able to apply 1.2 super sampling, and it looks awesome. It does. On the Quest Pro, it just looks stunning. And that's in the rain as well. I've never been one for racing in the rain in any of these games, because the frame rate just tanked. But with the 4090, it loves wet weather. Spray, puddles. The puddles on the ground look stunning. And that's because I've got environment setting set to ultra. So the puddles on the road, you know, you can see reflections in them and stuff, and the cars as they go past, light shafts off the headlights in the puddles. Looks amazing. So I am happy with it. Is it an absolute necessary purchase over a 3090? If you're sensitive to reprojection like I am, then yeah, because you are able to get a fantastic bit of performance out of it. The other thing I've noticed as well, using the link cable, is when I was running on similar settings, when I was running the 3090 over link, and this is the official Oculus link cable, the fiber optic cable, the latency was in the high 50s and 60s. On the 4090, the latency is mid 40s to high 40s. And I cannot tell a difference. For the first time using link, I cannot tell a difference between link and a DisplayPort cable. And just sitting here thinking about it, that is one of the big reasons to get a 4090. I think the Quest is the graphics card has got a big part in that latency over link. I always thought that the CPU was doing all the decompression, but clearly not. It's definitely the graphics card that's doing the decompression, because the latency has dropped big time, and it shows. You don't get any muddy looking trees in the background. You know, you don't see any artifacts. You don't see any popping of textures. It's all there. So yeah, 4090, beast of a card, especially with the Quest Pro. This afternoon I'm gonna try Dirt 2.0, because I've heard that you can completely max that Dirt 2.0 to ultra high settings across the board. And some guy on YouTube who's got a Reverb G2, he was getting a solid 90 frames per second with loads of headroom as well, apparently. So and that's with a 150% rendered resolution, so 50% super sampling on top compared to normal resolution. So I'm looking forward to that. Never really been into Dirt in VR because I could never get it to look nice. So maybe now I should be able to get it looking pretty decent. So I'll give that a go. Let you know how that one goes. Elite Dangerous. Again, looks the same as it did on the 3090, but just smoother. Again, link latency mid 40s. I think I saw it go down to 44, 45, went up to like 46, but no higher than that. So the 4090 is definitely helping with the compression, with the decompression of link, what link's sending. But I don't know whether that's down to the in fact, no, it's not all down to the Quest Pro, because like I said earlier, when I had my 3090 on the Quest Pro, my latency was high 50s into the 60s. So it's not down to the headset. It's down to the graphics card, clearly. What else have I played? Nothing really. I lost one of my SSDs, so a lot of the games that I had on there, like Half-Life Alyx, I've got to re-download. So, but you know, I'm not interested in all that sort of stuff, to be honest with you. I just want to get my simulators working. So happy with Elite Dangerous. Happy with Automobilista 2. Going to give Dirt 2 a try today. I'll let you know how that goes. I think the next sim that I'm hoping to get good performance out of is Race Room Experience, because I absolutely love Race Room Experience. But that was quite hard to run in VR with a 3090 and the Reverb G2. So we'll see how we get on with the Quest Pro and the 4090. So yeah, I'll just keep reviewing these simulators and whatever, and advise you on what settings I'm using. But if you've got a 4090 in the post, you might be disappointed to start with, but when you look at it as a complete package with the latency over link, the bumping FPS, you know, just don't expect to max everything out with 200% super sampling and get a solid 90 FPS, because it ain't going to happen. In fact, I don't even think the 5090 will do it. You know, VR, rendering in VR, you got to remember, rendering in VR is like having 3 or 4 4K monitors in front of you. You know, and you're adding all these graphical effects because your ego's telling you to bump everything up to ultra, and you want everything on ultra because you've just spent £1,600 on a graphics card. You want it on ultra. That's how I think. I've just spent that amount of money. I want ultra. But you know what? Between medium and ultra in VR, you can't really see it. You can't see the graphical differences. I knocked everything down to low, everything, all the way down to low, and it didn't look bad at all. So you got to weigh it up. Do you want everything on ultra with no super sampling, or do you want to knock everything to medium with 150% render resolution, or maybe more? These are the things I need to go through and continue testing to see what the result is, because sharper image for me beats the fact that I can see the driver next to me in his car. I'm not interested. I'm not interested if I can see his tax disc in the window. I want everything as sharp as possible. So that's my first look at the 4090 and the Quest Pro. I have been bitten by the hardware bug. In the last 2 weeks, I've had a new headset, a new power supply, and a new graphics card. And I'm already now thinking, I wonder what will happen if I upgrade my CPU to a 13700K. I'll probably see the same result I saw 2 years ago when I went from a 7700K to a 10700K, and it was minimal. So I'm going to be doing a lot more research on that before I drop another 900 quid on a motherboard, new RAM and a CPU. But we'll see how it goes. It's bonus time. This time of the year, waiting for the bonus to come in. So a bit foolish of me to spend my bonus before I've got it, but I've got an idea of what's coming. So there you go. It's already spent. Anyhow, so if you want to ask any more questions, just drop me a message and I'll get back to you. But at the moment, very good graphics card, amazing temperatures. I haven't even seen it go above 65 Celsius. Quite quiet, beautiful looking card, Founders Edition. Looks amazing in the rig. Very good performance. But to begin with, not what I was expecting. But maybe I was getting a bit too excited listening to these people on YouTube that don't do proper checking. In fact, if you want to see proper checking, check out a guy called Ham VR, HAM VR. He does proper VR simulator checking with a G2. He's got a G2 and a 4090. Yeah, he's very good. But anyway, and of course you've got me. You won't get any bullshit here either. Okay, later guys.